That's because my microphone was turned off. So thank you to the mods for letting me know that couldn't hear me. So we'll back up a few slides here. And take two. Action. Gonna time myself also. So welcome everybody to Purgatorio 2020, casting from the bowels of hell. As you can see, it's very hot here. So today we're going to be going through the whimsical world of wigs and going to help show you guys how to wrangle some wild wigs back into shape. So you may be asking, what will I learn today? Well, today we have 5 parts of this panel. The first is very short. It's actually a disclaimer. And then the next section is why wear a wig and a wig wearer's wig review. You can tell I love alliteration. Our next segment is wig woes, wearing a wig with wily wild hair. And in this segment, what we're going to do is to talk about how to wear a wig, especially if you have really long hair or thick hair or curly hair. I know my hair is pretty long and it's pretty poofy. I'm not gonna say it's like very curly, but it's very poofy. So what I'm gonna do is show you guys 2 ways that I use to wear wigs, and it does kind of keep my hair in check and keep the wig on securely. The next section is gonna be witty wig tips and tricks and a demo on detangling a wounded wig. And then our last segment here, which is where I'd like to spend about 20 minutes at the end of the panel, is whipping up whimsical wig styles for Lolita and JFashion looks. So what I'm going to do here is I have a nice wig prepped to use, and we're just going to go through some simple styling options, and then I can take some requests in the chat if you guys are looking for something you want to try to do on a wig. And then I will try to do it on the wig head, which will be up here. So I will be adjusting the camera at least twice in this panel, so just bear with me when I am doing that. Alright, so starting off is our disclaimer. We are only discussing synthetic wigs in this panel. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The reason why I bring this up is that synthetic wigs are very different from human hair wigs. Human hair wigs are usually very expensive, and also you can typically style them and care for them the same way you would your own hair. And synthetic wigs are just a little bit of a different ball game. Alright. So moving on, we're going to have our first section. Why wear a wig? And a wig wearer's wig review. So starting off with, why wear a wig? Well, you may have a bad hair day on the day of a meet, but you will rarely have a bad wig day, unless you're like me and can't find your wigs. Happens more often than I'd like to admit, but sometimes you just can't find them. Wigs also tend to photograph a little bit better. The color is going to be consistent throughout, and so is the volume, whereas natural hair, like you can even see mine, it does thin towards the end, especially if it's been a long time since you've had a haircut. Also like me, it may have been 2 years since I had a haircut, but I haven't told anybody else yet. And they just produce a little bit better visuals and more consistent visuals overall. You also have a plethora of styling options. Before I move on to that, I guess I forgot to show this example. So here is me in the same coordinate twice, and you can see in the first photo I'm wearing my natural hair. It does look nice, it looks cute, but in the second photo I'm wearing a wig, and just the volume and the shape of the wig helps to balance out the silhouette a little bit better. You can see that the color is just like really rich and it's consistent throughout, and then it's just like much more voluminous and beautiful. And also you can put little cute accessories in wigs, especially if they're long, that might otherwise like tug and pull on your natural hair and be uncomfortable. So again, like I was saying, you have a plethora of styling options with the wig. You can often do super crazy things with a wig that you just can't do with normal hair, like give yourself spiky hair like Yuki from Yu-Gi-Oh, or give yourself, I don't even know, I made a Nurse Joy wig once where I had those big rolling curls. I definitely could not do that with my real hair. So lots of options if you wear a wig. And overall, you just need to think from a JFashion perspective, what fits your coordinate better. So I have two examples here again of myself because I feel comfortable using my photos. I have two different coordinates here, and some look really good with natural hair. So this first coordinate here, I have my natural hair, it's up in pigtails, and I felt like this was really channeling some Mana vibes. It's like a very old school gothic look, and I thought that this went pretty well together. And then the second look, very similar, also gothic in styling, but I went with a light wig, and that was a much better option for this coordinate. So it really pops on the Melanistic Menagerie print by Elegy, and it frames my face nicely as well as like brings attention to the print. So it's just a matter of what fits your coordinate better. And then lastly, time. Do you have the time? I feel like there's a Green Day reference in here somewhere. A lot of wigs are ready to go right out of the bag, and you can even pay for braiding services from brands like Dreamholic. So you can have all your styling done before the day of the meet even rolls around, and you won't be scrambling to get out of bed and style your hair and do your makeup and get your coordinate on. You can just out of the bag or off the wig head, pop it on your head, and you're ready to go. So now that we know why to wear or not to wear a wig, let's talk about two fairly well-known brands in the industry that you might be looking to buy from if you've never bought a wig before. These are two brands that I recommend. So here we are with our next section, a wig wearer's wig review. So in this review, we're going to cover two brands, like I mentioned. The first one is Arda Wigs, very big name brand now. They're not just known in the cosplay community anymore, but also known in the drag community and in the Lolita community, and they're just stellar. I love them. Customer service is also great. And Dreamholic, so this is another big brand, especially in the fashion industry. They have some really nice wigs for fashion looks. And we're going to look at these two brands under 5 main criteria, and those are going to be price, quality of fiber, quality of construction, wearability, and varieties of colors and styles. So, starting up with Arda Wigs. So as far as the price of Arda Wigs go, they are range from $22 up to $110, and I think there's even a few above that, but right now on their listings, $110 was the highest I could find. Most of the wigs land in the $40 to $50 range, which is about an average price for a wig, a synthetic wig at least. So because they do have some low-end options, we're going to give them a score of 3 out of 5. They have some low-end and some high-end. They land a little bit in the middle, but there's a pretty wide range of prices there to pick from. Next is the quality of fiber. So Arda Wigs actually has 2 different fiber types now. They have the classic and the silky. Both fibers are heat resistant, which is a huge plus if you're looking to do styling, because you're going to need set to essentially mold the fibers into the shape that you want and then to cool them to set them in that shape. And the classic fibers are heat resistant up to 420 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 215 Celsius. And the silky is heat resistant up to a slightly lower temperature, about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's 175 Celsius. So both are heat resistant, which is great. The silky tangles a little bit less, but the classic is just as good. I actually have a plastic wig here, sorry for the rustling, to show you guys. So it's pretty good quality, and it just is like, you know, any other wig, but if I decided I didn't like these curls, I could take hot water or a straightening iron to it and I could reshape them as I want, and the fibers wouldn't get all like janky and messed up. Alright, so for quality of fiber, we're giving Arda Wigs a 5 out of 5. Next up is quality of construction. So Arda Wigs, I've noticed, tend to have nice thick wefts, and like well spaced and lots of wefts. The wefts have good placement. I have never had an issue with hairs falling out. Whereas with some other brands like Epic Cosplay Wigs, I have had a lot of issues with fallout of fibers, where I won't even be combing it like hard at all. I'll just be like running a comb through it and a bunch of fibers just kind of whoop, fall out on me. One thing that they don't have is these Arda Wigs do not have toupee clips in them. So you can't clip them to your head, but they do tend to have these combs so that you can slide them onto your hair, so that's really nice. And they also have adjustable bands at the nape of the neck, which you will see in most wigs, and I'll talk about these a little bit more later. But if your wig, if the standard wig cap size that they produce for that wig is too big for you, you can use this elastic and hook it on one of these hooks and tighten it up to fit your head a little bit better. So for quality of construction, we're giving Arda Wigs another 5 out of 5. They even make some wigs, like this one has a small skin top. What that means is the hair fibers are as dense as they would be if they were real hair. So if I wanted to change where the part was on this wig, I could do it easily and it would look natural. You wouldn't see any wig fibers like if I were to try to separate hair down here. Alright, and next up is wearability. So due to how thick the fibers are and the good construction in Arda Wigs, they are a little bit on the heavier side. So for wearability, I gave them a 4 out of 5. They are pretty comfortable. The wig caps come in a pretty decent size range. I know for some of the specialty wigs, they offer specifically 2 different size caps, which is really nice if you're someone like me and has a big head or a lot of hair that you need to hide under there. And then lastly, we're going to talk about variety. So Arda Wigs have over 50 styles available, over 100 different colors, the 2 different fiber types we mentioned, and they have lace front wigs and skin top wigs available. So that's huge. You don't see that from one brand. Usually you'll see a brand that specializes in lace front wigs and a brand that specializes in skin top wigs, and Arda has it all. So one of the cons with this though is that you might find the style you like but not in the color you want. They do back orders, but it might take some extra time and there is a chance that the item that you want specifically is discontinued. So for variety, I did give them a 5 out of 5 just because of the wide range that they have. So overall, Arda Wigs gets a 4.5 out of 5. Arda Wigs are mostly known for their maximum styleability, so while they're wearable out of the bag, kind of like this one is, it looks perfectly acceptable. The true power lies in what you can transform them to look like. There's just so much potential. This little wig, it can be whatever it wants to be. Alright, so moving on is Dreamholic. I'm slightly behind time, so I'm going to try to go through this a little bit faster. So Dreamholic, again, another well-known brand, especially in the JFashion community. They have really cute wigs, and I love their promo images. They're always styled so well. So for the price range for Dreamholic, they don't have as wide of a price range as Arda does. They're mostly in the $40 to $60 range, which is still about average for a wig, so not terrible, not great. So I gave them a 3 out of 5 for price. As far as the quality of fiber goes for a Dreamholic wig, it's kind of dubious. We don't really know if they're heat resistant or not. I can tell you for a fact that they're very lightweight, so they're good for extended wear. But you know, we just don't know if they're heat resistant, and I would never try to heat style a Dreamholic wig because I am just not sure. So for that, I did have to ding them a little bit and gave them a 3 out of 5, just because they don't specify what they're made of, and I'm not sure and not comfortable enough to try and style it myself, with heat at least. Next up, we have quality of construction. So this is probably one of the most hot button topics for Dreamholic wigs. Some of the older wigs people swear were better quality than they are now. I haven't noticed too much of a difference, but just like any produced product where they put out unique products, there might be a change in QC from, you know, batch to batch. But I do have a bunch of Dreamholic wigs with me. I have one here that I really love that maybe needs a little bit of a detangle. They are a little bit on the thin side as far as the weft placement goes, so you can't necessarily pull back hair and see, you know, no wefts. You might see them a little bit. And as far as construction goes, some do have smaller caps than others. I have run into a little bit of an issue where some feel a little tight on my head, whereas the longer wigs don't. So my thought is that they used slightly bigger wig caps on the longer wigs to account for the extra wefts. So that's just something to think about when you're looking into buying these wigs, is that there is a little bit of variety in the QC on the construction. So again, I had to give them a 3 out of 5 on that. So unfortunately, that's where that score landed. Next up, we have the wearability. So for wearability for Dreamholic, this is where they really shine. A lot of the wigs are just like boom, ready to go right out of the bag. Like I mentioned, you can get the braiding styling option sometimes when you buy them, and they will pre-braid them for you in a style that they may have in one of their promo images. They're really lightweight. They're a more natural looking wig, kind of like I showed you this Arda wig. You can tell this is a wig just by looking at the fibers. Like if somebody was wearing this, you wouldn't say, oh, that's their real hair. Like you would know that this is a wig. Whereas the Dreamholic wig, which I am going to pull back over here in a second, this to me looks like a real person's hair. It is so fine and just, it's really beautiful. If it wasn't so tangled, it looks so natural. So for the wearability, there's that. And these wigs also have, I haven't come across one that hasn't had it, but they do have toupee clips sewn into the temples right here, which are really, really nice. If you are in a pinch, don't have bobby pins, can't find bobby pins, you can use these toupee clips to slide into your hair and clip them shut, and it will hold that wig there for a while. They're very, very sturdy. So for wearability, I went and gave Dreamholic a 5 out of 5. Woo! Alright, and then last up, we have variety in color and style. So Dreamholic has pre-order and in-stock collections. The stock does vary depending on what they're producing at the time, and there's usually 2 to maybe 5 on average color options per wig. So it's a little different from Arda in that you can't get most wigs in any color. There are set colors for each wig, similar to how if a print is released by a Japanese brand, for Lolita, they might put out the JSK in only 3 colors. Maybe we'll say ivory, black, and wine, but you could get other prints in sacks, you just can't get that print in sacks. So it's a similar concept where there are certain colors released for certain wigs. So that could be a little bit of a dissatisfier. But right now they have 38 wigs on their pre-order and 13 on the in-stock styles, at least on the USA website. So that's pretty good. It's a pretty big range of options, and sometimes they do have unique dye jobs specific to one wig style, which is super cool. I have one that's called like Spiderling, and it's gray at the top and purple at the bottom, and it is super cool. So for a variety of color and style, we gave Dreamholic a 4 out of 5, and that's only because you can't get every wig in every color, which would be very, very nice. So their overall score is a 3.6 out of 5. So while that is a little bit lower than Arda, it's still a very good product, especially if you're going to be wearing it for fashion looks and you want something that's ready to go out of the bag. I would highly recommend Dreamholic. Alright, so next up is wig woes. Wearing a wig with wily, wild hair. Do you want to wig up? Well, first we're going to give you some tips. The first one is wear a wig cap. Always. Even when you don't want to. A wig cap is going to give your base hair a more consistent shape, and it's going to keep your flyaways in place, especially if your hair is different than the color of your wig. You want to keep those hairs nice and back. If you don't have, even if you don't have a lot of hair, a wig cap is going to give you something to pin to as well to keep your wig in place. So I highly recommend a wig cap. It's also going to extend the longevity of your wig, because let's face it, wigs can get very, very hot, and you want to keep that sweat from sticking up your pricey new do. Keep the sweat off the wig and on the wig cap instead. You want that barrier between your head and the wig. Next tip before we talk about thick hair, and this also applies to it, wet hair is a no-no when you're wearing a wig. If you have thick hair or long hair and you think, oh, well, when it's wet I can slick it back and get it nice and like sleek and fit under the wig nice and tight, please don't do this. So if your hair is wet under the wig, when you put it on, it's going to be wet when you take it off. There's not going to be any breathing there happening. You're also going to dampen that fabric interior of the wig that's holding the wefts together. So while your hair may fit better under a wig cap when it's wet, the cradle cap that you could get and the mildew that might form on your wigs is not worth it. So please don't put wet hair under a wig. Next tips are specifically for thicker or longer hair. So in my experience, next day hair is better for wear. So what do I mean like for this? For me, the day of shower, my hair gets really, really frizzy, and it's just not ideal for trying to wrangle to get under a wig cap. So I usually wash my hair at least the night before, maybe the afternoon before a meet, and then I sleep on it, and when I wake up, I know it's going to be under control and ready to put under that wig cap. The next tip is French braids are your friends. So French braids are a great anchor for a wig. It not only helps to slick your hair down on your scalp, but it also gives your bobby pin something to hold on to. So they may be a little bit bulky if you have a lot of hair like me, and they might kind of change the shape of the way that your skull looks under the wig, but I almost always wear French braids just because it's a really good anchor for a wig, and when I take the wig off, it's a perfectly fine style to go back to. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to quickly show a demo of how I get my hair under a wig with French braids. So here's me and my dorky self. So this is my natural hair. You can see it is kind of crazy and large. And I'm actually going to, I'm like, what can I do? How do I get this hair under a wig? First you're gonna need a hairbrush, you're gonna need a wide tooth comb, 2 hair ties, and you're gonna need your wig cap. So I'm just gonna speed up the playback here again faster, because some of you may know how to French braid and won't need to see it, but I'm gonna split my hair into 2 sections. I'm going to pull one section to the side with a ponytail holder and then get to work on French braiding the other side. I had just cut my bangs this day, so they were a little bit wild. We're going to address how to get your bangs under your wig cap at the end of this video. So if you don't know how to French braid, this is a really quick tutorial. You're basically doing a typical braid where you're going left over center, right over center, left over center, right over center, but every time you pick up from the left or right, you grab some hair from the side, include it in, and then keep going. I like the over braid. Some people do the under braid. It's up to you, whichever style fits you best. And so now I've reached the base of my neck, and I'm going to go all the way down about as far as I can go with this French braid, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get all the way down to the tip because we're going to show you what we do with that in a minute. So I'm going to tie it off with a hair tie, and then we're going to go ahead and get to the other side, which I'm going to speed up even faster. I am the fastest braider in the world now, suddenly. Yes. Yeah, I actually have another example here after this one. Sorry, I didn't say the question when you said it to me, Alexis. So somebody did ask, they mentioned that French braids, when they put them under a wig cap, it does kind of press against the head and make it a little bit tight. So I'm going to talk through a second example. Yay, I have other options for you guys, I promise, here in a second. This is just what I tend to do. I've been wearing wigs probably since I was 9, because I used to Irish dance and braids were always it. So if you have little bitty bangs like me, grab them, twist them, and you want to take 2 bobby pins and put one in on the left and one in on the right, cross them in an X. I'm going to do this for like half a second in this video, like that. And what that's going to do is really hold those in place. For the wig caps, I do highly recommend these ones with the hole in the middle. I have one right here, and I'm putting one on there right now. These are a lot stretchier and have a lot more give, and if you have longer hair, it's just way easier to like pull it all through here first. So I always put it around my neck, slide it up my head, and then I'm going to show you what I do with the braids here. So I'm going to take the right side and I'm going to flip it up on the left. You can see all this hair I missed like a dummy. And then I'm going to take the left and pull it over to the right. You can pin these this way. I choose not to because I know I'm going to pin my wig to my head, and that's a lot of bobby pins on your scalp at one time. So next I'm just going to tuck those braids under this mesh wig cap, and then once I have finished that, I'm going to take the top, I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to stick a bobby pin in it just to hold that hair in place. And then we're basically done. I'm just going to slide it back from my hair and throw the wig on top of this. So that is one way that I wear wigs with my kind of crazy hair. So French braids are your friends. That's option number 1 for thick hair. Alright, so the next thing that I have on here is that holy wig caps are bae. A holy wig cap. I did mention this while we were watching, but if you can see through your wig cap, it is a better wig cap than these solid, I want to say like tights ones. You can see with this one, I can put my hands in it and I can get it about this far, and then it's very tight. There's no give past here. So whatever elasticity there may be, it's already stretched out to the max. Whereas this one, I can stretch my hands even farther, and it's not like pulling back on me. It's more like I hit a limit and stayed there. It's not like kind of constricting as much as this one is. This one is always trying to fight back on me, and my hair doesn't always all fit under this, unfortunately. They do work, especially if you're wearing a wig that is if you have really light hair and you're wearing a dark wig and you don't want your light hair to show through, wear a wig cap that's the color of your wig. It's a good tip. So next is, if you don't know how to braid, or if you're in a pinch, if you need to swap wigs backstage, don't fret. I have another video tutorial for you in just a second here. So I'm going to play this with VLC Media Player so that we can change the speed on the playback. So here's me again. This is number 2. So I have all this long hair and a wig cap, and I don't know how to get it under here. So for this, you are going to need the holy wig cap. So I'm just going to use my hairbrush and my wig cap and some bobby pins and a wig. Those are all I needed to do this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take my hairbrush. I use like a flat hairbrush for my hair most of the time, and I'm just gonna brush my hair down and back. Try to get it as slicked down as possible, even though the ends are really frizzing out there. I'm gonna pull my bangs back as well. I'm gonna take the wig cap and make sure it's a holy wig cap, and then put it down around my neck. Then I'm going to try poorly to find the end of the wig cap here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of pull it back and catch as much of my hair in there as I can. And then I'm going to grab the ends and I'm going to twist it maybe once or twice, loosely, not tight. And then I'm going to tuck that into the wig cap. So you're going to see, I'm going to put another bobby pin here. I recommend this just to keep your hair in the wig cap, especially. But this method of getting your hair under the wig cap is a lot easier on you. It's a lot less time consuming, and it's a little bit more natural looking from if you can adjust the hair afterwards to just lay on your scalp better. I am terrible at that section of the tutorial, so I did not do it very well here. And I'm going to mention that because there's less structure with this, it is a little bit harder to throw the wig on if you're going to do like back to front. There's not really anything to anchor the back of the wig to, and that's how I tend to put on my wig, so I ended up putting this one on front to back. Not my favorite way to put a wig on, but I do have to like tuck that hair under because it's a little bit more amorphous, but this is certainly less tight on your head. This wig needs so much brushing. I'm sorry you guys have to see this. Truly in hell here. I tried to fix it a little bit. So that's another way to wear wigs if you have long hair. I would then recommend putting in a lot of bobby pins afterwards to make sure that it stays. So let's see, I had other things. So it doesn't give you much to anchor your pins to. It's a little bit amorphous, but it does work in a pinch. I've done that a lot of times in meets where I've woken up maybe 2 hours before the meet and not had enough time to braid my hair and do my makeup. So that certainly works if you need to do that. So I'm supposed to be at the 20-minute mark now, and we are far past that. We're at about 30. So next we're going to talk about wig tips and tricks and a demo for detangling a wounded wig. So I'm going to do my detangling demo first, so if you guys could bear with me, this is one of those sections of the panel where I'm going to adjust my camera and make things a little bit bigger, maybe? I don't know if I can do that quite on the fly, so I'm going to add a video capture for my webcam, and I'm going to become full screen here, hopefully in a second. Maybe. We will see. I might need to stop streaming and pick back up again. So we're going to set... Whoops. Yeah, I actually recommend using a wide tooth comb instead of a brush on a wig. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. I'm going to stop streaming and start streaming back up again just to get the video the way I need it to be. So give me just a second. Oh boy. More advanced questions than this panel can handle, I think. Okay, so we're gonna do this wig detangling demo. Hopefully I'm back on the screen now. So what you're gonna need for this is a wide tooth comb. You're gonna need some sort of hair oil or detangling spray. I use Garnier Fructis Marvelous Oil Frizz Defy. I bought this for my real hair and have found it works really well on wigs. And I've also found, I've heard, I haven't tried it, that silicone spray lubricant will work really well for detangling a wig. And the reason for that is that a wig fiber, synthetic, basically plastic. So it makes sense that a silicone lubricant would work to help detangle fibers. The last thing that you're going to need here are some scissors, because unfortunately frizz is not something you can fix on a wig. You will need to cut it out of your life, much like toxic masculinity. And the last thing you're going to need is patience. Go to Costco and pick up a value pack of patience, because you are going to need it for this project. And then one thing to remember is don't pull on your wig. Stretching your fibers is going to frizz them out, similar to if you had a plastic bag and you just stretched it. That's basically what you're doing to the fibers, just on a bigger scale. You're stretching them out and making them all weird and wrinkly, and they aren't going to go back to the shape they were before. So I'm going to do a little bit of detangling on this wig here. I'm going to try to make her a hair taller so that she fits in the frame, and scoot her in a little bit closer to you guys. This is a box shop wig. I've had it for a long time. When I bought it from somebody, it needed a little bit of TLC, and I gave it that, and now it needs it again. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna make this even taller to fit everybody in this frame here. Go by, camera. I'm sorry for the vertigo, everybody. Here we are, we're back in the frame. Okay, so when you are detangling a wig, I recommend sectioning. I highly recommend sectioning off the wig first. So this one's kind of already sectioned into curls, and I would take, I don't think I have an extra hair tie on me, but I would take an extra hair tie or a clear elastic, which I do have many of, and I would just pull all of the rest of the hair out of the way so that it doesn't get pulled into your detangling project. Next thing I would do is I'm going to start at the bottom of the hair, whereas with your normal hair you can maybe start at the top and brush downwards. With the wig, you're going to want to start at the bottom and work your way up. And then I'm going to take my hair oil and or detangling product of choice, and I'm just going to put a little bit in my hand and just get it in these wig fibers. So remember that this isn't real human hair, so it is not going to absorb this oil. It's purely working as a lubricant for the detangling process that we're about to go through here. So I'm just working this through, and at this time I can maybe answer some more questions. So Alexis, if you want to try and read me a few of those through the Discord, I will try my best to answer while I detangle. So again, wide tooth comb, starting at the bottom, and I'm just going to be really gentle and not pull on this and work my way up the wig. So you can see it's getting a little bit fluffier at the bottom, but it's certainly less tangled. If you hit a particularly stubborn or bad snag, I would just recommend cutting it out. Unfortunately, you know, the wig hair isn't going to grow back, but it is going to look better in the long run if you cut that tangle out, because less hair is going to join it. And I'm getting a call from Alexis. Hello.
Died or you fell out of the chat?
Okay, I'll hop back on. Thank you. That was one of our mods. Let me know that I got disconnected from Discord. So give me just a moment so I can hop back on there so that she can I'm back. Maybe. I think my headphone died. That was the deal. I'm gonna swap to the other one quickly because I can't hear anything. So please bear with me, everybody. We have a slight technical difficulty with my ears working. Okay, so I'm gonna hang up and rejoin. Can you guys hear me now? It's not coming out my headset. I'm just gonna leave and rejoin. How about now? Okay, this isn't really working. Alexis, can you just call me on my phone? Okay, thank you. It was working well until just now. So anyway, working my way up from the bottom of the wig up to the top. Hello, friend. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. How about now? How about now? Okay. Oh, Dreamholic, yes. So some of the stock photos are, most of the stock photos are styled. They aren't going to arrive specifically in that style unless you pay them to style it that way. But usually there's at least one photo of what the wig looks like without any kind of styling. And that's what you're going to get right out of the bag. So if a wig is like a wig that it doesn't say includes 2 clips and it's in ponytails, so it's not going to come with twin tails. Alright, so I have finished detangling this segment. We can see it looks way, way, way miles better than it did before. I'm going to show you the other side for reference. So we had this like kind of gross frizzy mess thing going on, and I've detangled it to look like this. So yes, it has lost a little bit of curl, but because this was heat treated to look this way, if you just twist with the direction of the curl, it will kind of bring some of that natural shape back. So again, you know, pulling on it with the comb over time is going to straighten out this wig, but it is worth it in the long run just to make sure it's nice and detangled and looks beautiful for further wear. All right, so we're gonna move on to our next section here, which is witty wig tips. So I'm gonna sit back down for this section and try to show you guys the PowerPoint again. So I'm going to turn on my video actually. So witty wig tips. When in doubt, do it while you wear it. Just remember that when you are wearing a wig, what you see in the mirror is what's going to show in photos, and it's what people are going to see in person. Also, if you wouldn't put it in your own hair, do not put it in the wig. I once had somebody sell a wig to me, could not figure out why it had all this dust stuck to it and it was really tacky, and it's because they had put lip gloss in the wig in an effort to make it shiny. So again, if you would not put it in your own hair, do not put it in the wig, please. Another thing for a tip is your best fix-ins are got to be glued and actually tacky glue. So got to be glued. I'll turn on my camera here for just a moment. Buy yourself one of these big cans. Got to be glued. It will last you for a very long time. This is very good if you have a really slippery wig to give it some tooth to hold a style. And tacky glue is good if you're trying to form spikes or like really intricate designs. Because it's water soluble. So if you don't like how you styled it or want to get rid of it, you can just rinse it right out. I'm going to turn back off my video now, sorry. Next tip is synthetic wigs are cool set. They're not hot set. So if you want your wig in a certain style, you need to heat it to that style and then hold it in that style while it cools, and then it will keep that shape. So this is how I have curled all of my wigs that I have curled. It's taken a long time before, but you can get those hot curlers that are from like the 80s kind of. You heat them up in a little container that they come in. They're hot when they come out. Wrap your wig in that, set it overnight, wait for it to cool down, and then take the curlers out and you'll have a very nice wavy wig. You can also, to get ringlets, take a curling iron, turn it on a pretty low setting, wrap up a whole curl in the curling iron, turn the curling iron off, wait for it to cool, and then pull it out, and you will have a perfect ringlet. I've done this for 3 wigs before. It does take forever, but it is so worth it if you want a ringlet wig and you don't want to pay to buy one. Next tip on here, clear rubber bands are also your friend. You've made so many friends in this panel. We've made braid friends, we've made wig brand friends, we've made wig cap friends. We have another friend, and that is clear rubber bands, because when you're done with the style, you can just cut them out. You don't have to try to work them down the wig to pull them out when you're done with a style. And so they won't get tangled in the wig. They won't be stretching out the wig fibers. Also, they're invisible, so you're never going to have the wrong color hair tie. So I'll just show you the pack that I bought recently. Turning on my video here for a second. This the white balance is very bad. I'm sorry. This is by You Got This. I got this at Giant Eagle, which is a grocery store. Came in a pack of about 52, and it might have been $2.50. So these 52 rubber bands are going to last me through a lot of styles, and I'll show you some of those if we have the time here. Turning back off my video. Off video, please. And then lastly, well, second to last, I turned a lot of my wigs inside out to store them, especially long and curly ones, or if I have to take the wig out before I have gotten home, like before my day's over. And so what this is going to do is it's going to keep all the hair like in one place. It's going to stop it from catching on other stuff if you need to throw it in a bag. And for curls, it just kind of helps them preserve that curliness. They're not letting gravity kind of stretch them out. And another tip is beware the wefts. You can't pull a wig up into a ponytail the same way you would your normal hair because you may show the wefts underneath. So we can talk about that in another panel, maybe how to do a ponytail. Another thing is to keep in mind is that wigs do come in a variety of sizes, kind of like I mentioned, but they do have adjustable hooks on the bottom to help fit the size to your head. So I'm going to show you that again here just quickly. I have this wig from Arda. This wig cap may be a little big for me. It does look kind of large, but at the bottom here there's one of these on each side. It's a little piece of elastic with a tiny S hook on the end. And there are little loops here at the bottom. So if I wanted to make this tighter, I would take this hook and hook it in one of the loops, and it would tighten up this wig cap for me. One thing you definitely do not want to do is to take these things and clip them together, because what this is going to do is really malform the shape of your wig, and it's going to be super tight on your head. So please don't do that. Hook them onto the loops. The loops are there for this specific reason. And then I think last we have on this slide, before we get to 13 minutes of quick styling, is to keep in mind your twin tail placement. If you're wearing a twin tail wig, sorry, I forgot I did not put the PowerPoint back up. If you're wearing a twin tail wig, you want to get those twin tails higher up on your head, not where your ears are. They're going to kind of sag over time because twin tails are pretty heavy. And you don't want them to look like puppy dog ears. You want them to look like pigtails. So we'll show you some examples of that now as we move on to whipping up whimsical wig styles for Lolita and JFashion looks. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera back on and set up for our wig styling demo. So when you're wig styling, you're going to want a wig head. Wig heads may cost you $5 at Michael's. You don't necessarily need to go to a beauty supply store to buy them. You can get them from the craft store. You're also going to want to get yourself either straight pins or T-pins. So these are T-pins, and they're nice because you can easily grab them out of the wig when you put it on the wig cap. And for this demo, I'm going to use a very nice long silky wig that is difficult to style to help kind of show you guys some of the tricks you can take for styling. So what I like to do when I'm pinning a wig for styling is to put one in the crown of the wig head, and then one on either side, and if I can get it, one in the bottom. So I can also take more questions during this segment of the panel. So if Alexis, there are any more questions in the chat, you can read them to me while I quickly brush this wig out. I believe we have about a little bit of like under 10 minutes left, but I'm going to try to get through as many styles as I can because I wanted to spend 20 minutes here and I only have 8. Oh, I'll show you a trick. Okay, so this is not like it's not a beauty wig head, obviously, like I mentioned. I got this from Michael's. This wig stand I bought on Amazon for like 12 bucks. It was very cheap. It's not the right size. I like jammed this hole. The white balance is terrible. So the hole, I kind of just like took a pair of scissors and widened it a little bit, and then on the top of my wig stand, I wrapped wrap after wrap of masking tape. Just to thicken it up and bulken it up, and masking tape has a little bit of tooth to it, like it's not slippery. You could probably use duct tape, but I use masking tape in case I wanted to take it off so it wouldn't be too sticky. And then this way it's like nice and tight when I go to get this wig stand on here. If you don't have a wig stand, don't worry. I used a music stand for probably 5 years of styling. You can find those big like metal music stands if you have one. Slap your wig on that. You can use the top of a broom. If you are a knitter or a crocheter like me and you have a yarn winder, you can use a yarn winder. It's usually about the same width as the bottom of a wig head. So anything like that will work pretty well. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to show you guys, which is pretty applicable to a lot of, we'll say like kawaii JFashion styles, is a nice poofy like pigtail. So to do this, I've split my hair into 2 sections. I've made sure I've combed through it so it is nice and smooth. I have my clear rubber bands. You can use regular hair bands if you don't have clear rubber bands. I just recommend these because you can cut them out afterwards. I'm going to take one, and I don't want to pull this super tight because I don't want to expose the wefts at the back of the wig. And I'm just going to wrap this around 2, maybe 3 times, enough to feel secure, and then stop. Then I'm going to take another clear rubber band and or hair tie. I'm going to come down about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, and do exactly the same thing. And then I'm just going to continue to do this down the wig as quickly as I can so that I can show you guys the next step. And these don't have to be perfect. You know, wigs are meant to model real hair, and real hair is not perfect either. So if you make a mistake, just say, you know, you're having a bad hair day. So now we have our little segments here. This alone is really cute, but we can really kind of bump up that kawaii level by taking a segment of the hair in each little bubble and just pull it out a little bit. So we're going to work our way from the bottom up. I would recommend holding on to the rubber band as you pull. And we're just going to keep doing this up the wig, and if you see one area looks a little bit less poofy, just going to pull on that a little bit more, and now we have this nice, cute, puffy little pigtail. So that's one of the first styles that I wanted to show you guys. Just nice and easy, something you can do with your wig. It's going to be really nice to keep it like out of your face. The wind isn't going to blow this in your face like keeping it down would. Let's see. Next, I want to show you guys how to do this is a little bit more advanced, but a braided flower bun. I think this looks really cool. It's really impressive looking for as easy as it is. So I'm going to show you guys this at the temple on this wig. So I'm just going to take a segment of hair about here. You could do this with the whole set of hair in the back if you'd like. Again, going to make sure that this is combed through just so I don't have any flyaways getting in my face, or you know, the wig's face. And I'm going to put this into 3 sections, and I'm just going to proceed with a normal braid. So if you've never seen braiding before or aren't comfortable, you just take left over right, right over left. I'm sorry, right over center, left over center. So right over center, left over center. And we're just going to continue all the way down. The tighter you make this, the more dramatic it might look, and the smaller that the braid is going to be, but it might be a little bit harder to do the next step if you make it too tight. So I'm doing this at about, I think, a moderate tightness from what I can feel. Looks like I got nice even sections here. When you're about halfway down your braid, you will tell if you got even sections of hair or not, because one of your crisscrosses will look really thick if you didn't. So we're just gonna keep going. This is, I think, considered like a medium length wig, but it's still pretty long. So, you know, wig styling, while you can do it the night before, the earlier you do it, the better, because it might take you longer than you think it does to do a style. I've learned that from experience, and then ended up like not wearing wigs I really wanted to wear because my style wasn't ready yet, needed more time. So again, clear rubber band, banding up the bottom of this braid. And there we go. So now what I'm going to do, I have this teeny tiny braid that's probably extremely hard to see on camera, is I'm going to go through each little weft on one side, and I'm just going to pull out a little bit of hair like that. I'm sorry, it's probably hard to see on the camera. Alexis, you can let me know what this looks like, I guess. It's probably kind of washed out. So I'm going to work my way up the braid, just pulling out a little bit of hair from only one side of the braids. And what this is going to do is it's going to make the braid look a little bit thicker, and I'll show you how we're going to make a flower out of this in a second. So are there any other questions? Oh, I'm not even seeing the chat. Okay. But if there are questions, please put them in the chat. I do have Alexis, one of our mods, in my ear, and she is relaying them to me. So, you know, I do want to help you guys out as best as I can, because this is, you know, it's a learning experience. And while you do a lot of learning by doing and by experimenting, if I can help you guys out in any way, I want to try to do that. Okay, so now I have pulled out a significant number of these little loops on the braid. So it's gotten a lot thicker now. This is going to become our petals for the flower. So I'm going to back this back up, and hopefully the lighting is a little bit better here. And I'm just going to swirl this little braid around like this. Let's see how I did this last night. The last time I did this, I was tired, so I do apologize that I don't remember quite as well as I should what this was supposed to look like, how I was supposed to do this. I think I twirled it like this. Okay, here we go. So what you do is you swirl around the braid, and then you're just going to want to make sure you tuck this last piece under. But we have made a beautiful little flower with this. Buy yourself like a 500 pack of bobby pins if you can. Maybe $8 at a beauty supply store. And pin this in place. I wish I had saved the picture that I took last night onto my desktop so that I could show you guys how this can look if you do it really well, because I did a really good job on it last night. Alexis Armand can testify, but basically you may have made a little flower bun. Alright, and there is one last thing I just want to show you guys before we sign off. I know this isn't all the styles I wanted to show you guys, but I do want to show you how to make a hime wig if you do not have one. If you have a twin tail wig, you can make a hime wig. This is super easy. Once I learned how to do this, I was like, my life is forever changed. I can do hime Lolita all the time now. So I have a twin tail wig. This is the base, if I can find the inside somewhere here. Gonna flap it on the wig head and show you guys this on the wig head. This wig also needs a little bit of detangling, so please don't judge her frizziness. Alright, and then I have my twin tails. Tip for storage, try to keep the bags your wigs came in. And if you also have it, the cardboard inserts, especially for curly wigs, it's just going to kind of help them keep their shape. Alright, so normally like I was saying earlier in the panel, you have twin tail wigs. You're going to want to put your twin tails about up here, right? So you'd have these two little cute little pigtails up here. This is how this wig was intended to be made, but now I'm going to turn it into something different. So for a hime wig, what you're going to do is you're going to take your twin tails, unclip them, and get them like right up on the crown of your head, and you're going to put the two of them next to each other. Okay, so now that we have this, and you really want to make sure that they're in there and secure. Sometimes they don't grab right away the first time, because you know, it's a wig. Wig hair is slippery. Got these up here. It looks kind of strange, right? Now we're going to take our line tooth comb and we're just going to kind of blur the lines between these two clipped pieces and maybe tease it a little bit. Not too much, because again, detangling a wig takes time and effort. But with a little bit of patience and time, we have now turned our originally twin-tailed wig into a nice, beautiful hime bump wig. So now we have our hime bump. So I think I have a little headpiece here I can just slap on. Pew! And we have our nice, beautiful hime wig from a twin-tail wig. How easy was that? So I guess I need to wrap up my time. I have so many more styles I want to show you guys, but maybe I could take this opportunity to record them, slap them up on YouTube. But thank you for joining Purgatorio. I hope that this was a good start to a very early morning for some people on Saturdays. So stay tuned. Lots of good panels coming up, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye! I'll answer comments in Discord also.